In that video, you can see the gunman running through the metal detectors, and he fired off 1 or 2 rounds.
The speed was rather incredible, actually. It was like a blur.
How did he get that close with the place swarming with security?
I will say, look, I say it because I'm a big fan of the people of law enforcement. And, you know, some of these people, they may be crazy, but they're not stupid, and they figure things out. He ran 45 yards, they say, and he just went to it, and then, boom, he popped through it. A thing like that could happen. I would say this, having the equipment on the outside of the building maybe is better than having it on the inside of the building. Sometimes that's tough, sometimes it's horrendous weather, sometimes it's pouring, it's raining, lots of things happen, but maybe last night was actually quite nice, the weather was beautiful. So maybe something like that has to take place. I can only say that from the moment they realized that he was, I mean, he ran like, I think the NFL should sign him up. He was fast. When you look at it, it's almost like a blur.
Right.
But it was amazing because as soon as they saw that, you could see them draw their guns. They were so professional, aimed their guns, and then they took them down immediately. The doors were sealed, the room was sealed, the ballroom itself, where the people were. And they really, I think they did a great job.
I was in the room, not far from you, Mr. President, could hear what sounded like gunshots or commotion.
Right.
People nearby could smell the gunpowder. Everybody hit the floor. There were a number of people who were very, very scared.
Yeah.
How worried were you that there were going to be injuries?
I wasn't worried. I understand life. We live in a crazy world. You can really enhance your chances of having a perfect situation, but sometimes things will happen. I didn't want to see what was happening because, you know, the president. In one way, I guess I should be hiding, and another way, I want to see if I can be helpful. But I did watch because I could see what was going on at the door. I also saw a lot of very strong, physically strong, really attractive law enforcement people come through those doors, and frankly, it made me feel very safe. Very, very safe. There was nobody going to get by them. And this was at the very back of the ballroom, looking at the back of the ballroom.
The counter-assault team that comes in.
They were very impressive. I think they were very impressive. I think the whole operation was very impressive. The only thing you could say is maybe they could move that counterpoint out deeper. In other words, move it to the outside of the building.
Let's talk about that. Mr. President, I wonder how much has the Secret Service and the FBI briefed you about this suspect, Cole Thomas Allen? Have you read what a senior U.S. official is describing to us as a manifesto?
Yeah.
Did you know that he emailed it to family members?
We found all of that out this morning.
Right before the attack.
Yeah, we found that out this morning, and the family members were concerned. I think the brother called up the police. I think the sister may have called the police. The parents were rather devastated. He lived with the parents. I saw the parents last night on television opening the door. I assume that was his parents. Look, you have sick people, and you have to mitigate the risk. But some of these sick people, it's amazing. They're very sick, but they're also, in some cases, very, very smart. He went to grade school. I can tell you the person in Butler, I don't know if you ever looked at his academic credentials. He had almost 1,600 in his college boards. 1,600. Nobody has it. It's the upper 99.9 percentile or something, and he was a crazy person, but a smart crazy person. I think the law enforcement did a great job last night.
Let me ask you.
I guess if they didn't, I wouldn't be here. But I think they really did a great job. Mm-hmm. Now, can you make adjustments? We're also learning. Can you make adjustments? I think the only adjustment would be you move your security equipment further away. But it was about 50 yards away. 50 yards is a lot of yards. Now, when a guy's running at that speed, he was a very fast person. And he got him by a little bit by surprise, but that didn't matter because he was totally subdued very shortly after he passed that one point.
The so-called manifesto is a stunning thing to read, Mr. President. he appears to reference a motive in it. He writes this quote, "Administration officials, they are targets." And he also wrote this, "I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes." What's your reaction to that?
Well, I was waiting for you to read that because I knew you would, because you're horrible people, horrible people. Yeah, he did write that. I'm not a rapist. I didn't rape anybody.
Oh,
I'm not a
do you think he was
pedophile.
referring to you?
Excuse me. I'm not a pedophile. You read that crap from some sick person. I got associated with all stuff that has nothing to do with me. I was totally exonerated. Your friends on the other side of the plate are the ones that were involved with, let's say, Epstein or other things. But I said to myself, I'll do this interview and they'll probably, I read the manifesto, he's a sick person, but you should be ashamed of yourself reading that, because I'm not any of those things.
Mr. President,
and I
these
was
are
never,
the Gunman's words.
excuse me, you shouldn't be reading that on 60 Minutes. You're a disgrace, but go ahead, let's finish the interview.
The other thing that he wrote in
the
other thing in the manifesto that I think is worth looking at in terms of determining his motive is he had been staying at the hotel since Friday. He checked in, he said he had cased the place, and he wrote, "What the hell is the Secret Service doing?" And he wrote this quote, "I expected security cameras at every bend, bugged hotel rooms, armed agents every 10 feet, metal detectors out the wazoo. What I got is nothing." He wrote, like, this level of incompetence is insane. Sir, you have already had two
Well, he was pretty incompetent too, because he got caught, and he got caught pretty easily. So I'd say he was pretty incompetent too. I could take any event having to do with security or anything else. I can always find fault, no matter what. I could take a baseball team that won the game 18-0 and say they should have played better. Those guys did a good job last night. They did a really good job. Now, do they make adjustments? They do. They learn. They make adjustments. We're living in a different world with the internet than we had years ago. But even years ago, it was very dangerous. I mean, just ask Honest Abe Lincoln. Pretty dangerous. And but we are living a very, the internet, I think maybe more than anything else, it's radicalized some people. It's made people mentally sick. It's also a great thing. It's a phenomenal thing. We're the leader in it. We're the leader in AI. It's a great thing, but you'll always find problems. But it's a different age. It's a very different time.
I mention that because, again, as his motive, you brought this up, he had social media accounts that had anti-Trump and anti-Christian rhetoric.
You should read. Why don't you read all the anti-Trump? Why don't you read it? You just did, so why don't you read it?
Well, he had a lot of anti-Christian rhetoric. He was part of a group called the Wide Awakes. He had attended a No Kings protest in California.
No Kings.
What did security tell you about what may have been his motives?
The reason you have people like that is you have people doing no kings. I'm not a king. What I am, if I was a king, I wouldn't be dealing with you. No, I'm not a king. I don't laugh. I see these no kings, which are funded just like the Southern Law was funded. You saw all that. Southern Law is financing the KKK and lots of other radical, terrible groups. And then they go out and they say, oh, we've got to stop the KKK, and yet they give them hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars. It's a total scam run by the Democrats. It shows you that, like Charlottesville was all funded by the Southern Law. That was a Southern Law deal too. And it was done to make me look bad, and it turned out to be a total fake. It basically was a rigged election. This was a part of the rigging of the election. And that's what you really should be doing. I mean, I hope one of your 60-minute episodes, which really hasn't changed very much for the last few years, I'm surprised, but one of those episodes should be on Southern Law and the fact that they spent millions and millions of dollars on absolute far right and just bad groups. And then they'd use those groups and they'd say, these are Republican groups and we're coming to your rescue. And they're the ones that have funded it, and they're the ones that keep them going. Pretty sad. Do you think it's pretty sad, Nora?
The allegations and the indictment
They're
laid
not just
out
allegations.
It was an indictment
These
laid
are
out
facts, okay? These are facts. I mean, they have checks to the Ku Klux Klan and many others, and then they're saying how bad they are. and blaming the Republican Party and Republicans. These are not just allegations, but go ahead.
Well, as you know, sir, you've been accused of things and were able to go to a court of law and adjudicate them, so
Yeah,
allegations and indictments.
after 5 years, it takes you about 5 years.
I do want to talk about that.
Well,
You
I've
referenced-
also won a lot of money from fake news media where they write falsely about me, and not that I want to sue people, because I don't, but I bring lawsuits against the fake news. I brought lawsuits against your network, and you paid me $38 million because you did something that was so horrible with Kamala. You put an answer down that wasn't responsive to the question, because her real answer was so bad, it was election threatening. And you paid me a lot of money. You tried to pull one off. It was terrible. It was a terrible thing that you did. And, you know, when you say, can we all get along? You can, but when people do things like that, how about the BBC, where the BBC has me, actually AI, they had me saying a horrible statement. And I said, I never said that. It turned out they gave me an AI, a little AI treatment, where they have my lips speaking words of hate, tremendous hate that I never said. They don't know what to do. They've admitted they're wrong. They just don't know what to do. They actually have me making a major statement, and it wasn't me. It was my face. It was my lips. My lips were perfectly in sync with the words. I said, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. So,
I hear you, Mr. President.
so then when you say, can you get along? I can get along with anybody, but if people are going to cheat, if people are going to be fake, you sort of don't want to get along.
On that, what do you say to people who are encouraging political violence or even cheering it on?
Well, I think the ones that are doing that are much more far left than far right. Much more. When you see, again, Southern law, when you see some of the statements that are made that are so, even when you say no kings, that's encouraging. You're saying one of the things this guy said in his manifesto, which you didn't read, you should have, is that he attended a no kings rally, along with not too many people, and probably it had an impact. You know, they get up and they say whatever they want. No, I'm against that. I think it's terrible.
Also at the dinner last night was your secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. His sister, Carrie Kennedy, was there. They've both witnessed their father and their uncle be assassinated.
That's right.
Erica Kirk was there. The House Majority Leader, Steve Scalise, was there.
Yeah.
Political violence has touched so many people in that room. Is there something that you as president can do? What can be done to change the trajectory?
Well, you know, you go back 20 years, 40 years, 100 years, 200 years, 500 years. It's always been there. People are assassinated, people are injured, people are hurt, and I'm not sure that there's any more now than there was. I do think that the hate speech of the Democrats, much more so, is very dangerous. I really think it's very dangerous for the country. I think the fact that I've accomplished so much, I've made our country great again. I mean, this country was dead. Our country was dead. A year and a half ago, Sleepy Joe Biden had no idea what he was doing. I don't think it was him either. I think it was the people that surround him in the Oval Office at the beautiful Resolute desk. I don't think he knew what he was doing. He didn't sign anything. He used the auto pen to sign 90% of the things. I think that they engendered, I mean, they really created a tremendous amount of anger and hate. Our country was dead, and now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. No, not even close.
Last night,
As an example, investments in our country, for 4 years, less than $1 trillion under Biden. In 11 months, $18 trillion under Trump. Now, most people are happy about that, but some people are really angry about it. You know why? Because it means we should be around for a long time, and they don't want that to happen.
last night you had very much a tone of unity when you were in the White House press briefing room.
I think so, yeah. I think I really felt very calm. I feel very calm, and I feel very calm right now, other than a couple of your questions, which are meant to antagonize and totally inappropriate. But I feel very calm. I thought last night was a very important thing to do, and people have said I did it well. Not an easy thing to do. You know, you leave a scene like that, and then you're supposed to let our country and even the world know that it's gonna be okay.